Hello friends. Today, what I'm going to take up is the circular which the Reserve Bank issued around 4 days back. That is on the 17th of April 2020. Together with that, since understanding of the 17th of April 2020 requires the background of the 27th March 2020 circular, we are also going to try and understand, the context of that circular, and then take up the 17th April 2020 circular. Uh, I'll so friends, these are the two regulatory packages which the Reserve Bank actually came out, which are relevant to us as branch auditors. That is one, the 27 March 2020 circular, and the other one is 17th April 2020. First, we'll take up the first circular, which came out in March 2020, where primarily the Reserve Bank gave a moratorium in respect of term loans for a period of around 92 days, which was from 1st of March 2020 to May 31, 2020, and then subsequently also a deferment of the interest uh, for the same period of 92 days from March to May 31, 2020 for working capital facilities. Now, this particular moratorium, if you actually understand the word moratorium, it's a holiday period for application of the interest and installment. So primarily the banks were allowed to permit the borrowers to take a moratorium in the repayment of the EMIs, the installment or the interest during this period. Now, of course, as a administrative compliance, the banks have during this period, try to contact the borrowers, take confirmation from them that whether or not they are seeking the moratorium. Now, where some banks have put a link on their website seeking confirmation. Others they are contacting the borrowers directly and documenting the such deferment. Now, to get into the details, now this moratorium or this regulatory package actually, was made applicable to literally all the entire lending institutions, which included the housing finance companies, the NBFCs, the small finance banks, RRBs, and of course the commercial banks. Now, more specifically with respect to term loan, the circular said that the lending institutions, they are permitted to grant a moratorium of 3 months on payment of all installments. Now, installments are defined as being those which fell during this period and would cover bullet repayments. It would cover payments of principal, EMIs with respect to housing loans and others, and also the credit card dues. Now, with respect to term loans, what the circular said was that the 3 months deferment or the moratorium. Now, this would get shifted to the period after the moratorium period. So effectively, now let's say today, if I had a term loan which was outstanding for another period of 60 months post 1st March 2020, and after this circular I choose to uh, take the moratorium granted by the borrower. Then, since there is a holiday period of 3 months during this thing, this 3 months period could get deferred by the bank subsequent to the end of the 60 months. So probably as of 1st March 2020, I could say that there was a total door-to-door tenor of 63 months. So summarize, the borrowers got an option of not paying from 1st March 2020 to May 31, 2020 with respect to all the term loans which they had, whether consumer loans, housing loans, or any kind of loan, whether it is a business loan, all kinds of loan got this moratorium. And when it came to the CCOD, the working capital facility, the RBI clarified that the interest which was to be applied in a similar period from March 1, 2020 to May 31, they granted a deferment and not a moratorium. So the deferment would mean that this particular interest during this 3 months, obviously the bank would debit the borrower and credit the income, but the recovery of such interest would get deferred to the period immediately after the completion of this period, would effectively would be June 2020. Now, the two issues which cropped up when till such time the 17th April 2020 circular was there, was number one, when it came to the moratorium granted in respect of term loans. Now, here, in spite of the moratorium for this period, in terms of the extent, IRAC norms, the 90 days delinquency norms. So any borrower who did not pay his dues up to 31st December 2019 would get downgraded as a non-performing asset as of 31st March 2020. So, in spite of the fact that, COVID had already started, and even if he had tried to repay, and probably because of the stress, his account would still get downgraded as on 31st March 2020 in case he was not able to pay his dues up to 31st December 2019. And similarly, in respect of the cash credit or the OD, I think friends, all of you would be aware that the CCOD accounts get classified as an NPA when they are out of order, under those three conditions of: one, there being no credit during the period of 90 days, or the credits not being enough to cover the interest debited, or the outstanding remaining continuously overdrawn as compared to the sanction limit or to the drawing power. Now, here the issue which obviously came out was that although the recovery of interest was deferred, it was being debited. Now, if I had to classify an account as NPA, I could, in terms of the out of order provisions in the RBI Master Circular of July 2015, I could say that, in case the credits during the last 90 days of January, February, and March were not enough to cover the interest debited in January and February, since the March interest was being deferred. So obviously, to compare this, or to see whether the account had to be downgraded, there could be an issue where we had to classify such accounts where the credits during the last 90 days were not enough to cover the interest debited during this period, which I would have taken as January and February and ignored March because it had been deferred. Now, so these were the two issues which cropped up in the NPA identification, in spite of the moratorium and the deferment of the recovery of interest. Now, a few other provisions which we can quickly run through, which was there in the 27 March 2020 circular. Number one, it gave an option to the lending institution that you could recalculate the drawing power by reducing the margin, and also reassessing the working capital cycle. So obviously, but then the RBI said that this could be done only if the lending institutions were completely satisfied that this was the reduction in the margin or the reassessment of the working capital cycle only happened because it was the impact was on account of the COVID-19. Now, it as regulatory this thing, it also went on to say that these concessions which the lending institution would give to the borrower would, however, be subject to subsequent supervisory review. Now, I think, friends, all of you would be aware that in terms of the extant restructuring norms, wherever borrowers are granted concessions, which in the in the normal conditions, the bankers would not, like the moratorium being given, or a deferment, recalculation of the drawing power, etc., which this particular circular went on to grant to the borrowers. Now, this falls under the definition of being restructured, and such restructuring in terms of the extant norms, unless it was under one of the few exceptions to restructuring, all such accounts had to be downgraded. So this particular circular only clarified that such moratorium, granting of moratorium, deferment, or recalculation would not fall under the definition of restructuring, and correspondingly such accounts would not be required to be downgraded. This also went on to say that the asset classification which is granted relief under this package shall be determined on the basis of revised due date. So automatically, this period had to be taken out, and the revised repayment schedule I would then classify in terms of the 90 days delinquency norms. And similarly, both in terms of term loans and also when we calculated the out of order status for CCOD accounts. Since wherever there is a default, the credit history of the borrower gets impacted, and automatically the credit information companies downgrade such accounts, which impacts the capital adequacy of the banks where such borrowers exist. So the circular also clarified that such rescheduling of payments, etc., would not qualify as a default and would not also impact the credit history. This was more to guide the credit information companies about classifying such moratorium or rescheduling of payments as a default. Now, the other condition was, number one, they had to have board approved policies. So, all institutions had to get these policies approved. Secondly, to identify such accounts, they said that, banks or lending institutions would have to create develop an MIS in respect of borrowers of 5 crores and above as on 1st March 2020, so that the management and the auditors and other inspecting teams could identify borrower wise and credit wise, facility wise accounts where relief had been granted under this particular circular. Now we come on to the very recent RBI circular of 17th April 2020, which changed the things which the 27th March 2020 circular came out with. Primarily, it had two provisions. It has two provisions. Number one, in respect of term loan and in respect of CCOD, and both with the same impact. It goes on to say that, with respect to accounts where moratorium had been granted in respect of term loans, or deferment of interest had happened in respect of the working capital facilities, this moratorium period of March 1, 2020 to May 31, 2020 needs to be excluded by the lending institutions for the purpose of asset classification. So, when we were discussing, I talked of the issue of the installments of December 2019, 31st December 2019 not having been paid up to 31st March 2020. Now, such accounts, as per the earlier circular, would have got classified as an NPA. Now, because of this holiday period for the asset classification, the such term loans would not be classified as an NPA, or any term loan would not be classified as an NPA, even if they are overdue during this period of 1st March 2020 to May 31, 2020. So there's a holiday period for downgrading of accounts or asset classification during this period of 92 days. Now, effectively, you could say that, if an account is standard as on 29 February 2020, it would continue to remain standard as of 31st March 2020. Similarly, when we come to the CCOD package, there also where, as per 27 March, we had deferred the interest during this period. So here again, if an account is standard as on February 29, 2020, it will continue to be standard as on 31st March 2020, and one would not, for calculating the out of order status, I would exclude this period of 1st March to 31st March. So effectively, I would work back from the 29 February 2020 till 2nd of December 2019. Take that period of 90 days and then work on those three conditions of whether the credits were enough to cover the interest debited during that period, or whether there are no credits during those 90-day period, and of course the balance outstanding during the period exceeding the sanction limit or the drawing power. So effectively, again, like in para 2 in respect of term loans, here again we would have to prove and probably check whether the working capital facility is standard as on 29 February 2020. So any default, or even if it is a SMA 012 status, it would continue to be a standard account as on 31st March 2020 if it was standard as on 29 February 2020. Now this is a clarification in the circular with respect to NBFCs, which is available in the circular. We get on to the provisioning part. Now what the RBI has said is that, in spite of the holiday period in the asset classification, they would not like that such accounts which are probably maybe large in numbers, suddenly have to be classified as NPA post the holiday period of 31st May 2020, and get impacted in June 2020. So what the RBI said that clarified is that, all such accounts which were in default but and standard as on 29 February, and where I have given the asset classification benefit, so such accounts which would have become an NPA during this period, moratorium period, or for the current year from 1st March to 31st March, then I need to make a general provision of 10% on the outstanding of all such accounts which have been given the asset classification benefit as of 31st March 2020. Now, what the RBI said is that, the 10% of the total outstanding provision which has to be paid, provided for, can be deferred over 2 quarters by, providing for 5% in the quarter ended March 31, 2020, and the other 5% in June 30, 2020. So, 10% gets shared between 2 quarters, Q4 of 1920 and Q1 of 2021. Now, with respect to the provisioning, it clarifies that, the above provision of 10% could be adjusted against the actual provision requirements for slippages from the accounts reckoned for such provisions. And the residual provision at the end of the financial year can be written back or adjusted against provisions required for all other accounts. So effectively, now these accounts, so let's say I have gave a moratorium for some accounts up to 31st March 2020. I provided this 10% in Q4 and Q1 of the next thing. Now this subsequently, such accounts, if maybe in September or December quarter actually slip, then the RBI clarifies that this particular provision can be adjusted against the actual provisioning requirement for slippages from the accounts where the moratorium or the holiday period was given. Now, let's say, we provided 1 crore in 2 quarters, Now, against this, further the accounts which were given the holiday package. Now, they required further provision of 50 lakhs. So I'm left with 50 lakhs at the end of the financial year, which would be 31st March 2021. Now, this in 31st March 2021, the RBI clarifies that which is the residual provision. Now, this either can be written back or adjusted against provisions which probably is required for the other accounts. Secondly, the RBI also clarifies that the such accounts where holiday in the NPA identification has been given, they should not be reckoned for arriving at. I mean, they have to be shown as gross NPAs, and the provision which we made of 10%. Now they should not be netted off from the gross NPAs and shown as net NPA under Schedule 9. And the RBI clarifies that it has to be shown separately in the balance sheet as appropriate, which I presume would be under Schedule 5, other liabilities. Similar to the credit information companies in the 27 March 2020 circular, here also it says that these exclusions which the asset classification of para 2 and 3, they would be not required to be treated as a default or in their reporting by the credit information company, resulting in a downgrade of the rating of such borrowers. The circular of 17th April 2020 also clarifies that the such accounts or the provision made against such accounts where moratorium or the holiday in asset classification has been given, certain information has to be disclosed in the notes of accounts of the lending institutions in three financials. Number one, for the half year ended September 30th, 2020. Number two, the financial year 2019-20, which is March 20, and again in March 2021. So, this asset classification benefit would continue to be disclosed by the lending institutions in these financial statements. Now, these are the four disclosures which the RBI has clarified. Number one, it says that wherever I have given the borrowers have been given the moratorium period or the interest deferment, what is the amount of such borrowers or the outstanding. Number two, which are the accounts where the asset classification holiday or accounts which had to be classified as NPA during this holiday period, which are the accounts and the amount thereof where such accounts were not classified as NPA. Number two, what is the amount of provision made during FY 2020, which is March 20 and Q1 2021 in terms of the 5%, and also the provision adjusted against during the respective accounting periods, right from September 30, 2020 up to March 21, against the slippages in such accounts, and also the residual provision which is left after the residual as of March 2021 in terms of paragraph 6. Now, to summarize the entire 17th April 2020, one can say that as auditors, effectively what we would need to verify is whether the account is an NPA or standard as of 29 February 2020, instead of a normal exercise which we carry out as at the year end of 31st March 2020. Primarily because there is a holiday period from 1st March 2020 till 31st March 2020, at least for the current financial year. So effectively, in respect of term loans, if the installment has been received up to 31st December 2019, such accounts would not be classified as an NPA, and if the installment has been received up to 30th November 2019, obviously it would become an NPA. Primarily as of 29 February 2020, unless accounts which are NPA as of 29 February 2020 are upgraded because of subsequent recoveries during March 2020. So friends, I think uh, uh, to read one, if we read both these circulars together, we can summarize it and put it very simply and say that the only onus of responsibility of the auditors is only shifted of classifying the borrower's account as NPA as of 31st March 2020 instead of 31st March 2020 to 29th February 2020. I would recommend that in case you still have any doubt, you please you can email me to the email address given here. So I would definitely try and clarify all your doubts or issues which you have either with respect to these circulars or with respect to any other provision with respect to your bank branch audit. Thank you.